Thank you for listening to this interview session and getting involved. I'm not gonna lie, I've been wrestling with whether or not to have this completely typed out or just speak from my heart like I do at different events, but I don't want to look back on this opportunity and regret not saying or mentioning something, so I thought it would be better to get all of my thoughts on paper. People have been asking me why I want to run for school board, as it can be a very trying position and my kids are about done. When I started attending school board meetings about 2 years ago, when a group of moms were trying to organize a LifeWise committee here in Troy, it sparked my interest. Through that process, I began to find meetings interesting, along with getting to know the people running it. As we become informed, we start to become more of problem solvers versus complainers. As a culture, it has become very easy to get on social media, read things, and accept them as facts versus getting out there and doing the work. My husband Rob and I moved to Troy 22 years ago, and I wanted to be involved, but with working multiple jobs and raising our 3 kids, I feel I didn't have the extra time. But now I feel as though I have the time to commit to things that need address, and not only that, be a voice for the board, for the moms. I feel passionate about kids. They are our next generation. Our world is heading in a very scary situation, and we need parents to play this role versus the politicians. I do also feel that in order for people running anything, there needs to be an opening to listening and having direct, hard conversations. As this happens over time, passion starts to develop for the organization through trial and success. I also feel that volunteer work, boards in particular, need new and fresh ideas that come from listening to people, even though it may clash with the way the system has always been done. We can get trapped in how it's always been done and stay there. To me personally, I like to listen and solve problems. I'm not a perfect person by any means, but it takes all kinds of people to run an organization. I feel like I can add that element of raising questions and strategizing and not just complying because it's easy. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brian Honeycutt. I'm currently running for Troy City School Board. My wife and I have been married for almost 24 years. I have a daughter who's a junior at Ohio State, who's a 2021 graduate of Troy High School. My middle daughter Emma is a senior at Troy High School, and my youngest is in 8th grade at Troy Junior High. I myself am a 1994 graduate of Troy High School, which is kind of weird because that's 30 years this year, so feeling kind of old. I graduated from Bowling Green State University with my bachelor's degree in education with an emphasis on business education. I currently hold a master's degree from the University of Dayton in educational leadership with a principal's licensure and a superintendent's licensure. I am currently working on my PhD, actually writing my dissertation, collecting data so that I can graduate hopefully this spring or this summer with my doctorate degree. This is home. I'm proud to be from Troy. I love Troy. When my wife and I were engaged in college, she said we're going back to Troy because she loves it here so much. My in-laws have moved from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania out here to Troy because they love it so much. So it's an honor to be able to run for school board.
So my name's Ben Redick. I was born and raised in Troy, Ohio. I am a Troy High School alumni, class of '98. I am also a Kyle Elementary alumni. I am running for school board basically with a philosophy of staff, students, community, what I view as the 3 most important things, the lens at which decisions at the board level need to be made, information and items need to be considered. And so what I'm hoping to do and would like to see with the board is, at the board level is, being able to give students the resources they need to achieve their full potential, getting parents and guardians even more engaged with their students and their students' education, which would hopefully take burdens off of staff, being able to give staff the resources they need to be able to do their job effectively and as stress-free as possible, and to be able to bring the community along as we go through some of these important topics as they come up on the board level, to make sure that everybody in the community has a voice, everybody in the community will be heard, even though you know, a large portion of the community are taxpayers, but they don't have anybody in the school system. They don't have children in the school system. So it's very important that we make sure they're engaged, and we keep the focus on those three key elements at the board level.
I'm interested because I want to give back to the school district that has given me so much. Throughout my educational years here in Troy, I was provided with the knowledge, the tools, and resources to go out and achieve anything that I wanted to do. So I want to be able to give back. I feel like my over 20 years of educational experience as a classroom teacher and administrator have given me, I feel like my over 20 years of service in education has given me a vast amount of knowledge that I think I could be a benefit to the Troy City School Board.
Interest in the school board. So I was, the idea was sort of casually mentioned to me by somebody that I trust and respect. And it was something I considered, talked to my family. You know, I've got a lot of experience working on various boards. I'm currently on the Troy Development Council Board, the Tip City CIC Board, the Miami County CIC Land Bank Board. Previously served 2 full terms on the Troy Main Street Board. So being able to bring a level of experience and leadership, you know, at a board level, and understand that decisions need to be well thought out and carefully considered, information carefully considered, and really, for a job like this, to have thick enough skin to make difficult decisions and very important decisions for the community.
I think, like I stated in the entire introduction, I'm passionate about kids. I'm concerned, as I think everybody is, that this country and the kids and what's being taught and led is very, very concerning. And I don't want to be a person that sits back and watches it and complains about it and do nothing about it.
That's a good question. So, you know, I view what I could bring to the board is experience in leadership, experience in making tough decisions, like I had mentioned before. I am principal broker of a successful real estate company. Like I said, I've served on several boards. I was a 2-term president for Troy Main Street, so understanding how to set budgets, work within budgets, hold people that, you know, report to the board accountable, being able to communicate with people like staff, engage community, engage parents, things like that, to just be able to consider all information before making a decision. Make sure you're well informed before you act on anything.
I think when I stated again in this, I've been a mom for 22 years. I have been through many trials. My husband and I, we have been through the COVID, which I will talk about in my conclusion, but COVID, transgender issues, bullying, having to transition schools. On top of that, my skills are listening and relating to people. I really, really like and enjoy helping people. I like to listen and I like to solve problems.
Currently, being in the education field, I am up to date on the current trends happening within the state of Ohio in terms of where we go with education, the standards, the new programs that we are getting. I'm also up to date with the federal guidelines, the federal requirements that we receive on a yearly basis. So I feel being in the trenches, being on the front line allows me to be up to date on what is going on within the educational world.
I think off the bat, most people are going to automatically say the schools. Everyone's going to reply with that, I would think. And I do think that is a huge issue, but that is a man-made cultural issue that can be resolved over time with strategy and talking to people on those committees who understand that issue. Right now, I think Troy City Schools' biggest issue, along with every other school out there, is the direction of our kids. Whether that be academically, as the U.S. is declining in their numbers and where they're at, or morally and socially, mental health, and all the other issues that go along with that. So Troy City Schools has got its hands full, but as a country, we have other issues.
I would say it's not just one challenge. I'd say there's many challenges. Number one would be funding. Funding will always be a challenge for school districts because of the way that school districts are funded by the state of Ohio. I believe school safety, teacher retention, making sure that our students have 21st century skills to go into our society and be successful. And I would say the mental health of our students and making sure that they are coming to school every day ready to go.
Well, I mean, I think one of the biggest challenges is an elephant in the room right now, and that has to do with facilities. While, if I'm elected, it would be after this next election where the school levies are on the table, but to understand the challenges would be to implement that plan should it get voted in, the levy be approved, or to figure out a way, what are the next steps if it doesn't? Being able to operate within a budget effectively, to be able to see what we can do with the resources and the facilities we have to improve the standards for students and staff going forward. That's going to be a big challenge.
I want to make sure that I'm always there and I'm willing to always listen. I'm one where in this day and age I can be reached cell phone, email, but I want to make sure that we as a board member are always discussing, the things that we're supposed to be taking care of, things we're supposed to be doing. Make sure that, I'm always communicating with Mr. Piper also, and basically to make sure that we're on the same page. With the district staff, I want to make sure that I can be visible in the buildings, and that's not to, as some people may say, spy. It's just I want to be in the hallways to see the teachers in action doing the jobs that they love doing so much.
Collaboration, that's a good question. I think it's important that there's an open line of communication between board members. I don't think it's effective for board members to sort of coordinate efforts, so to speak, as it is. They need to be sharing their opinions, their views on matters, because that's what I'm going to take out of it, is to make sure I understand where everybody's at, other board members, the community staff, because I'm only one person. I want to make sure I'm understanding where all viewpoints are coming from, and make my decisions accordingly. And as far as communication, it probably would be wise for the board of directors to figure out a way that they can sort of deliver updates or messages from the board on a regular basis. I think that would be a good idea.
I hope that I am able to, as I have already been to multiple school board meetings, like I said, I've been attending multiple of them. So this isn't going to be a culture shock to me when I go in there as to what's going on, who are these people, introducing myself, learning the players. I already know them. I've already been involved. I've already sent emails and messages and followed up, and I really think with my communication skills and my team building skills, I could bring this board together, hopefully as a middle person, speaking with everyone and using my heart to really bring people together.
I appreciate everybody taking the time to listen to my answers to these questions today. I hope you'd carefully consider me for Board of Education. I bring a load of experience being able to make decisions, lead groups, carefully consider information from all sides before decisions are made. I'm not a reactionary person, so I make sure that anything that I take a stance on, make a vote on, is well thought out and considered. I understand that this is going to be a difficult position, and I'm more than willing to step up, put the time in, and make sure that the community, staff, and students are served well.
In conclusion, my personal resume as a parent over the last 22 years involves the evolution of social media and how it affects our children. We have created our home is where the kids hang out, and it allows me to have access to listening to their conversations and interacting with them. This involved kids from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. We're always that house. There are always kids at our house, and as our kids age, I want to continue being involved in kids' lives and their best interest. I feel I am a seasoned parent of school-aged kids, and I have so far survived years of watching things slowly and progressively change in our schools quicker than we can keep up with. All our kids are being put in situations that are far more stressful than I can even comprehend at their ages. I have parented through transgender bathrooms, COVIDs, shutdowns, lockdowns, vaccinations, bullying issues, transitioning schools, and bringing up hard topics to administration and school board. We are now living at a time of education, evolving from traditional education to political agendas, and it's not fair to our students or our staff. I would advise if parents want to learn more about the schools, attend the meetings or watch them or send emails to administration and staff. Talk with the people directly and get the facts. Learn what's going on and communicate effectively. Talk with your kids and ask them what's happening at school. Look over their homework assignments and see what's being taught. By being a resident here and networking with many people, I feel like I have an overall feel for the town, and Troy is definitely a place where people are active and involved. They want to be heard and have their opinions along with actions. There is always something happening, whether it be downtown, constructions, activities, businesses, or schools. We are a highly active community. With that being the case, I feel passionate about bringing this into the schools and staying on top of the game. I ask for your vote in November as a community member, a believer in traditional education, a CASA board member, and a faith-based parent. I will have a separate Facebook page available soon to keep you all updated. As parents, it's difficult to keep up with everything that's happening before us as leaders, but we have to take it upon ourselves to look out for all of our kids and not just our own. Thank you.
It's an honor to be able to run for school board for Troy City Schools. I thought about this for years and years. At one point I was going to run, but my kids were too young, and now it just seems like it's the perfect opportunity, and I would be honored to be able to serve the students, the staff, and the community for Troy City Schools, because this is a special place to me, and it always will be. So thank you for your time.